Live from High Point, North Carolina, we welcome you to coverage of MLS Next Pro. As tonight, it's Carolina Core FC against Chicago Fire FC2. Thanks so much for joining us for this matchup in the Eastern Conference tonight. My name is Drew Casey. These two sides coming in, Chicago right on the edge of the playoff line. They are 10th in the Eastern Conference, but less than one full performance out of a playoff position. 6-6-6 on 27 points. Meanwhile, for Carolina Core, they are coming off their biggest win of the season by margin, winning 4-0 recently, earlier this week on Wednesday against Miami. Fourth win of the season for Carolina, now 4-9-7, 21 points, and that currently is 14th in the Eastern Conference, looking for a late season run, led by their leading scorer right there in the center, Arnaud Tadevin, as he goes through his pregame progressions just a little while ago. The native of Paris, France, sitting on 8 goals coming in to this contest. A busy week for Carolina Core. And Tadevin, of course, is there up top alongside Swinehart in the 3-5-2 for interim head coach Jake Davis, with Hammond Kalukian, who scored in his first game with the Core earlier this week. Bears the captain in the middle, and rounding it out across that midfield line is Rainbolt and Montenegro, Teta, Weber, Orbal, the three across the back, in front of Nick Holiday for the host squad, Carolina Core. Let's go to the other side now and talk about Chicago Fire. 4-2-3-1. Losers the last time out, but prior to that, unbeaten in 5 straight. Looking to find a nice stretch run. The goalkeeper is Jason Nemo Jr., Ig Sandmeyer, Gonzalez, and Borso across the back. Trip Fleming is the captain in the defensive midfield, alongside Robert Turdine, who's had some nice moments this year. 5 goal contributions for Turdine. And then up front, look for the attacking in the middle, both Villanueva as well as Bolts. Bolts is going to be the starting striker in this one, alongside Pineda as well as Halut. So it looks like we are just about set to begin this one. It will be Chicago in the white-based uniforms as the visitors, the goalkeeper Nemo in green. And meanwhile for Carolina, the darker kits to come out, pink for the goalkeeper Nick Holiday. Second game of the week for Carolina. Quick turn to a Wednesday, Saturday, not even the Wednesday, Sunday. The good news, here at home at Truist Point, and we are delighted that you are here with us. So this is the third and final meeting of the regular season between these Southeast Division foes, and thus far on the year, tight battles. We're expecting more of that here today. The first meeting was way back in March in Chicago. A 0-0 draw, 5-4 in PK shootout, extra point going to the way of Chicago. And then right on this field back on May the 16th, a lot has happened since then for Carolina Core, but that was a winner, 2-1 for Carolina. One thing to note, in that matchup, Jair Kaiza picked up a red card for a last man foul, it clearly was, 57th minute. And with MLS Next Pro rules and regulations, the red card is served if there is a remaining game against the same opponent. So no Kaiza. He's the one notable absence, a red card suspension ahead of this one. So we are just underway here at High Point, North Carolina, the Piedmont Triad of North Carolina, where it is going to be quite a busy week upcoming the next few days in the great Tar Heel State. MLS All-Star Week coming and hosted down in Charlotte and the surrounding areas. We'll tell you all about that coming up throughout the broadcast, especially at halftime, as Goalie Wars is back. And some MLS Next Pro goalkeepers will participate. Again, more on that coming up at halftime, but we are just underway here this evening. And two sides looking to continue to improve, continue to grow. Independent club in Carolina Core that has made a number of changes on the field, coaching staff as well. May 26th, Jake Davis named the interim head coach. He was the goalkeeper coach prior to that. Since then, the squad is 2s across, 2-2-2. This is Chicago, looking to start something here from left to right in the early going. We told you Chicago just outside the playoff line, but they have played 1 or even 2 fewer matches than most other sides in the Eastern Conference. 2 fewer than this Carolina Core side. So Carolina really going to need a furious run to the finish line if they'd like to see a second consecutive playoff appearance. In fact, both of these teams lost to the eventual champion of MLS Next Pro in the postseason last year. New York Red Bulls 2. Carolina in the first round, and then Chicago in the second weekend of postseason competition. Certainly both teams right now, if the season ended technically on the outside looking in, it's technical on the Chicago side. It is the outside looking in for Carolina, but there is still a lot to be decided and to be played. Tristan Weber trying to toe the near touchline. Looking for Seth Hammond, midfielder from Winchester, Virginia. Somewhat of the footprint for High Point. Not too far from the North Carolina-Virginia border here. Multi-purpose here at Truist Point. High Point Rockers, minor league baseball, independent ball in the Atlantic League also. And of course nearby High Point University as well. Over the top here, long ball. Chicago trying to track down. Looks like it'd be last touched by the onrushing Dean Bolts. And Bolts trying to sell it a little bit. Almost actually did. But a referee right on top of it. Daniel Emery is our referee this evening. Nicholas Seymour, Andrew Sharon, the assistant referees. And the fourth official is Yannick Rutfuss in the bright traditional yellows out there. So fourth minute, still looking for the opening shot whistle here, and a little bit extra. Yeah, that may draw at least a conversation. And actually, a yellow card has come out as well. I thought there was a reach for the pocket, and there was. Early yellow card going against Chicago here in the fourth minute. Arms extended by multiple Chicago Fire 2 sides. Let's see here. Don't believe it's for there. Maybe for that second ball right there. I believe the whistle had already sounded before that challenge, that secondary challenge. And if so, they may call it reckless on, might have been Neek there. We'll wait for official confirmation. But that could certainly play a role here early on, going to the book. And tended to. Like Ryan Baer quickly testing out, the captain of this side. Training staff wants to make sure that he is in well enough condition to remain in there immediately. And of course, due to the card infraction, he does not have to leave the field of play. MLS Next Pro was ahead of the game with the treatment rule. Saw it in the World Cup, of course. And it is confirmed now as Neek picking up the yellow card. And that is going to be his fifth yellow card of the season. So early in the match, didn't even have the pen in the usual position to notate yellow cards, but it does come here. Again, officially in the fourth minute, and one or two on later for the tended to by Baer, who again is okay and able to continue. Carolina team starting in the 3-5-2. If you weren't with us a little while ago, Nick Holiday, the goalkeeper, Orbaugh, Weber, and Teta across the back. Hammond, Montenegro, Rainbolt, Baer, and Swinehart in the midfield. And Kalukian and Tatovin are up top. Carolina core in the darker kits today. Tatovin showing the pressure. Going to win it back quickly. Talking with interim head coach Jake Davis the morning after the big 4-0 win over Miami on this field. Have to be very cautious, certainly Thursday and Friday in the training and the recovery, but also in the lineup decisions for this one, as well as choosing moments, looking perhaps in-game to conserve legs as well a bit. Contrasted by Chicago's 4-2-3-1, Jason Nemo Jr., who's been exceptional in cage. His counterpart here, Holiday, getting set to restart. For Chicago across the back line, Neek, who's already on the yellow, Sandmeyer, Gonzalez, and Borso. Trip Fleming and Oscar Pineda. Halut, Turdine, and Villanueva with Dean Bolts, the leading scorer up top. He's had a nice year, 5 goals to lead the way. Jason Shukaluk, last year's MLS Next Pro Golden Boot Award winner. 20 goals a season ago. First team contract now with Chicago. He has appeared in 3 games, including last week. He had a pair of goals earlier in the year. And he has 4. He's second on the team, but he is not with the club here today. MLS on Wednesday, he did appear. And with the crowded MLS calendar, especially this month coming off the break in the World Cup, there may be some more limited action in terms of seeing first-team players in Next Pro fixtures. Thought we might get another yellow card here. This is a tough challenge. On second look, nice work from our team. It's an awkward challenge that resulted in the harm, but no yellow. I think rightly so here in the 8th minute. Nothing has threatened here in the opening near 10 minutes. Nice calm night here in North Carolina. Don't always get that necessarily this time of the year. Certainly the summer warmth, but not a full blister, if you will. Busy stretch of play across the entire league. And again, the second one of the week already for Carolina. Certainly appreciate you being with us. First one that gets into an 18 and innocently flicked back to goal. And easy to secure for the goalkeeper in Nemo Jr. Just an excuse me send back by Neek. Carolina drawing some whistles early and often, and athletic training staff being called for by our referee, Daniel Emery. Carolina's side that on the year averages about 13 fouls suffered per contest. They are well on pace to smash that with all the duels that they have been fouled on so far. That's already at least the 3rd, and they've all been fairly significant, one being a card. By the way, that's the 12th most in the league. So right around the middle of the pack in this 30-team MLS Next Pro configuration here in 2026. Quick pop-up. Oh, and the reason that there was an immediate call to the training staff is there is some blood, it looks like, from Tristan Weber. A little bit of a nosebleed, perhaps, or a cut. He's working it out on the sideline. He'll be allowed back in when he is fit and able and has waited the allotted time. So for the moment, down a man for Carolina just due to the injury. Stoppage and coming off, and what appeared to be apparent cut as well. Carolina doing a nice job of keeping it on this half of the field, but still nothing has threatened goal on either side just yet. Carolina continues and will keep here. Another whistle. They're foul in the midfield, and Bear for a moment was asking for another yellow card. Good news, Weber's already back in, and he already has the touch here with the left boot. There's been a lot of movement since May 26th. That was the day the changes were announced by Carolina core interim head coach Jake Davis. Taking the helm, and his side has an opportunity, perhaps the first of the night. Montenegro's cross, though, was knocked away. And Ricardo may have had an opportunity if he took the step towards Cage to get a decent look off. But pass, if it's converted, that would have led to an A-plus scoring chance here. Looking for the offside flag to come up, and it finally does come up. Well into an offside position was Halut, the 18-year-old from Roselle, Illinois. But back to what Jake Davis has had to say over the course of what is building off of the foundation that was set, looking to keep moving things forward, looking to continue to turn the corner. He thinks they're there in that process, both on and off the field. But with all those changes, there has been some moments of chaos, as you would suspect. Again, looking for the flag to come up here, and it does. So that's two quick offside for Chicago. The first one, certainly an obvious one, and this one pretty clear as well. And that sounds a little bit, if you really want to go into the numbers, and very rarely will I go here, but because we are at top and bottom, I will. Chicago on the year only whistled for offside 15 times in 18 matches, so less than once per night. Carolina, meanwhile, the offside flag has come up 58 times. That's the most in the league. Carolina the most, Chicago the least out of 30 clubs. But you know what? It means nothing, really, in the big grand scheme of things. Chance generation, though. Conclusions can be drawn. Carolina player goes down, and Chicago has the rush from left to right. Hardly anything. In fact, no touches inside this 18. Long range, just wide. Oh, Oscar Pineda from 25 nearly put Chicago in front on the first chance of any consequence. Great opportunity. Just a rip. Go Forth Home Services is a proud signature partner of CCFC. Founded in the Carolina core in 1959, Go Forth Home Services is our region's trusted provider for your home services needs, including pest control, heating and cooling, plumbing, and smart technologies. Chicago looking for more, but this one too far in front. Yeah, Nick Holliday will bag it, making his 18th start in goal. 21st match of the season for Carolina. The other three starts in a net for Trevor Jackson. Carrollton, Texas, 6'6". Holliday is 6'1" from in-state Chapel Hill. Of course, of the University of North Carolina. Nice defensive work there by Pineda. Actually not the foul, and it leads to a breakout. Two passes further up the wing, but Carolina has recovered nicely in transition. Dylan Borso here. Wandering over from his right back spot. Looks for the coverage as he continues to stay in the fray. That one just too much on it for Borso to keep from Pineda as they went back and forth, and now slightly exposed up the other way. But nice defensive work at the center back spot for Chicago on the near side. But they're keeping out that back line of Nick Sandmeyer, Gonzalez, and Borso. So certainly the best chance that we've had of the night so far, as we've played a little more than a quarter hour. Just moments ago, down on this end. Flag staying down here, a head flick touch. This is Borso again. He's been very active. Left foot sent towards Cage. Getting himself involved. Has it again. The 20-year-old from Chicago. Homegrown player. Sent in on the cross by Villanueva, sent right back out. Chicago will settle back across the back line. Coming off a 3-2 loss to Crown Legacy. Coach Matko sharing that I didn't think it was one of their best defensive efforts that they've had. But still, we're a kick away from tying it late at 3. And get back that consistency that saw them run through 5 unbeaten. At 3-0-2 really helped them firmly get back into the playoff picture a bit in the East. And again tonight, entering 10th, 3 points here. When all said and done with the weekend, could have them inside the line technically with a game or 2 at hand. Here's a chance. Chicago scores! Breaking it down and into the back of the net. It was Pineda with the chance earlier, and Pineda converts this time. It's going to be his first goal of the season. The settle and the quick touch, and not much that the Carolina keeper Holiday could do. Pineda and Chicago 1-0 ahead in the first half. Really just the second chance of consequence that we have seen. Both have come from Pineda, and it has now paid off. Somebody certainly like many across Next Pro with a high ceiling, continuing to build on that consistency. His head coach told me earlier this week, looking to continue that consistency, and he's seeing it more and more on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, match-to-match basis. Carolina Core looking to answer. Oh, what a save, Nemo. After not much action, a fantastic stop just seconds after his side took the lead. The long ball breaks a few lines, and look out. If Nemo's not there, it's inside that top corner. Well, the intensity, the chances have ratcheted up here very quickly at Truist Point in High Point. First corner of the night, through for Carolina. Headed and leaves the surface, but not by much. It hung in the air after Swinehart got a piece. You can't miss him with the bright locks. And it will remain 1-0 for now in favor of the visitors. Pineda, somebody who's second on the team in minutes. Only 9 shots on the season entering. And man, 2 great chances, cashing in on 1. Bolts gets the assist on the slotted pass. And we have this one sent out of play over the near touchline. Before we resume play, a conversation. Daniel Emery making sure that all is well. He is satisfied, and we will resume. Both teams officially with 2 shots, 1 each on goal. Nemo saved moments ago. My. Showing off. Just 16 years old from Evanston, Illinois. On a second-team contract and status at the moment. Over the top, tight. Coming out. Nice clearance to prevent what could have been another good scoring chance. Holiday have to be confident as a keeper to come out in that manner, and certainly was so in that instance. In really good form lately, according to his interim head coach, Jake Davis, who was the goalkeeping coach prior to the interim head coach tag applied. And I asked him, still get to work with the goalkeepers? And I expect the answer to be no, not really. Just given all the responsibilities. And that's essentially what it was, but still involved, of course. But now with every position group in some form or fashion. Continuing to progress, and Jake Davis calling the progression from preseason, and we're running on 25 weeks or more since that all got going. Calling it remarkable. The final push of the season for these two sides and for the entire league, and it is a busy, busy finish, concluding a little earlier this year than previous seasons, just the way the schedule works out. Again, part of it related to World Cup year, as are many things on the calendar this year, certainly domestically here in the U.S. Pineda is the goal scorer for Chicago. Two great chances. Separate runs in the first part of this first half. Buried the second for his first goal, officially in the 18th minute. Look out, chance to tie. Tadevin blocked. Gonzalez. Not going to see many 37-year-olds in Next Pro. Big save there. The high press paid off. Almost in the highest fashion. Locked away will be a corner number 2 on the way for Carolina. It'll be Weber, who briefly left earlier after taking a challenge through a small cut. Had to get that bleeding stopped. Now sort things for the corner before it's delivered as the sun sets here in North Carolina. Left-footed ball, and immediately exits at the edge of the 6-yard box. Nice defensive work. Recycled ball back in. Kalukian, just his second game with the club, it redirects. Swinehart got a touch, but not enough bodies in the Carolina core kits for a third touch towards goal. Little mini transition, looking to move with pace. Halut. Trying to chase it down, but just a chip over. Back for Montenegro. Second most minutes on the club for Carolina. Now here's Jack Sandmeyer pushing the play up ahead. Breaking a few lines. Trots back now and is behind the ball. Leaving the feet was Pineda, the goal scorer there for the challenge. Have to be careful there, especially in the midfield. Able to cleanly knock it away, no foul. Bit more settled for Bolts, by the way. That's his 8th goal contribution on the Pineda assist. Got back by Swinehart to goal and cleared out of the immediate danger zone by Holiday. Back in. Flag stays down. Here's Borso. He's been really active off this right side in the first half. Chicago looking for a second. Now Villanueva. He's ridden off by Swinehart. Cleanly, no. This is going to be just outside the box. Step or two out. You see the run from Villanueva. And there's the foul. And now a really, really big-time chance for the visiting side to go up 2-0. a group around here that features both Villanueva and Pineda. And perhaps Borso, although I believe he has just stepped aside. Indeed, that was the case. Villanueva and Pineda are waiting here. The wall is set. 3 Chicago players in front of the defensive wall that's made up of 4. And Carolina wants to get everything sorted. Another application of the spray, and now we are going to have more gamesmanship before this set piece here. Again, it's Villanueva as well as Pineda. Villanueva low, who wears 72. Pineda's high. He's got the goal already. Villanueva, not the shot now. Pineda into the wall. Loose second ball, and it's in! Chicago strikes again. Damian Nick, his third, and it's 2-0 here in the 29th minute. Well, they wanted the 3 in front of that wall in case it was blocked, because you never know. And wham! Caught a piece of a deflection right near the penalty spot as well. And sent in by the 21-year-old from Switzerland. So in a first half that has not featured a ton of chances necessarily in quantity, Chicago has taken full advantage of what they've had. 3 chances, 2 goals. And Pineda started that one again. Likely will not get an assist with the blocks and deflections, but was the first to touch it. And now Chicago on the front foot again. Already 2. Some space here, looking for 3. Heel flicked on back. Swinehart was there as Tripp Fleming tried to get creative and lead to a potential 3rd goal for the visitors. So Pineda and Nick both finding the back of the net. 18th, 29th minutes respectively. Goalkeeper going down there on that send. Nemo had one that he misfired straight out over the near touchline earlier. His side trying to flip that out wide left, but knocked away. It was promising if it got out wide. It gets out wide this time from Pineda. As Dean Boltz centrally streaking, punched away. Chicago continuing to come now. Nick Holiday, strong goalkeeping there. Even seeing some pressure. Remember, some fresher legs on the Chicago side last weekend, their last time out. Carolina here on Wednesday. A long night too. Weather delay. Rain played a role, especially in the second portion of the game. Would love to get one back here. Tadevin drops. Swinehart's cross. Headed out. Nice work by Sandmeyer. And now Carolina will settle a bit. Few moments for Chicago. They've been tough to break down. Chicago team that would much rather play the 2-1, 1-0, 1-0 game types as opposed to the 5-4, 4-3s. So if you're Matko and the leader of this Chicago Fire FC2 side, to like where you are on the offensive side, but still nearly a full hour remaining here on the road. Chicago side that has struggled on the road too. 1-5-4 away from Chicagoland and largely SeatGeek. Looking for the build. Here it is, Montenegro. Ricardo. Now Tadevin. Draws 2. Gets it away, but only momentarily. Villanueva tried to clear, but enough from the home side in bodies to maintain. Pineda and Neek, the goal scorers. More than a half hour in now. Here's Tadevin. He's a good candidate to cut the deficit in half. He goes down, pops right back up, and he just lost his footing there. The home faithful might want to whistle. One is not coming there. Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist is proud to be the official healthcare provider of Carolina Core FC. Appreciate you hanging with us tonight in the Piedmont Triad, North Carolina. MLS Next Pro, I'm Drew Casey, the rest of our team here with you. It's 2-0 Chicago. Converting on what's been a largely middle third type of game. But 3 powerful runs for Chicago, 2 goals as a result. Carolina looking for its first good chance. Might come here. Swinehart's ball looking for the runner. That's some open space ahead. Now Chicago countering numbers even for now. Tracking down. Bolts is streaking towards goal. Settled back. Right foot volley is in. My goodness. What a half for Chicago. Vitaly Halut. A fantastic goal. And it's 3-0 Chicago now in the 34th minute. Oh, this is exceptional here. Chips to himself. Same foot. Upper corner with the right foot for the 18-year-old. His third of the season, and 3-0. Chicago in front. And the energy certainly had downgraded after the second. And I don't know for a fact, but I would venture to say the High Point Library system is closed for the evening. But it is library quiet now here at Truist Point. Fantastic goal for Halut. And if you're Carolina now, certainly you would love one before the break, but you also want to make sure that it's only 3. Advantage granted for this play to continue. Turn around! Just wide. Nearly 3-1. Swinehart started it. Now Tadevin. Swinehart was fouled. Cross goalmouth on the turn from Kalukian. Possibility starts at Skyla Credit Union. See what your money can do at SkylaCU.com. So now 3-0 up for Chicago. Everybody getting involved in the party. Pineda, Neek, and Halut. For a side that has struggled on the road, what airplane did you have to take yesterday? Chicago certainly looking to continue what has been a masterful first half. Some bookkeeping. Halut was credited with an assist on the second goal, so it's a 2-goal contribution evening now. Tracked down by Hammond. And Turdine has been credited with an assist on the third goal. So Robert Turdine onto the score sheet as well. Chipped out wide, Swinehart drops back. Cross in. Well defended. Pineda chips out over the far touchline, and as a bonus, it caught Swinehart. So Chicago will take back. Pineda's first of the season. Neek's third. And Halut's third. (18, 29, 34). The minutes of strikes. Here's Hammond. Out wide for Tadevin. Will he cut it back? Settles. Crafty pass. Couldn't be controlled by Weber initially. Tadevin tracks it back in the bright orange cleats. The native of Paris. Now Montenegro. The largest stint of possession on the edge of and in the attacking third for Carolina on the night. That's a dangerous boot. Very dangerous. Certainly a whistle, and Kalukian may be lucky to not see a booking. Certainly trying to score a goal, but very dangerous there. Fortunately, everyone is A-OK. Do like what we've seen from Kalukian, though, the native of New Jersey, of Wayne, New Jersey. His debut with the club just earlier this week. He's back in there. He scored a goal on a PK after Tadevin 1-1 back on Wednesday against Miami, which was a 4-0 victory. It's nearly turned completely on the other side, and Chicago might have a chance for a fourth here. Lots of real estate for Villanueva. Villanueva. Cross. Caught Swinehart. Villanueva fighting back through three. Nearly wins it back. This one is won back now by Chicago. The pressure from Sandmeyer starts this recycle. Pineda for Borso. All the way back across the back line. And a quick touch for Gonzalez. Brief stoppage there for reinforcements. Fleming might have had a rush drop the right wing in an offside position. Everyone paused for a moment. It was tight. Let's get back in the scheme. Third time these teams have played this year. That's the configuration typically within divisions in Next Pro. Trying to grab the byline was Borso, and unable to do so. Should be a corner, though, I believe. And indeed it is. No one, neither side, neither player there really reacted. So a corner one. This will be the first for Chicago on the evening. A Chicago win here would split the season series. 1-1-1, win-loss draw. Points-wise, Chicago would have the edge. They took the shootout second point back in March. And Oscar Pineda actually had the clinching kick from the spot to grab that second point. Chicago's 3-3 in shootouts this year. Carolina's been in 7, 2-5. And those points do matter, especially when you look back on it later in the playoff line, and typically there's separation of just a few points for that final team in, the first 2 or 3 out. And you think back to maybe a shootout or two and what could have been. It's certainly a big part of the development, but it makes a big impact in the table and postseason and the race for the MLS Next Pro Cup. Hard to believe we are very close to starting to think about that. At front of mind, seems like just yesterday we were getting things going in February. A couple of league matches. Of course, the World Cup through the middle of all this, and one of the few leagues that continued play. Here's Tadevin. Drops it on back. Carolina looking for a strike before the half. Montenegro centers up, blocked. Strong effort. Pineda there again contributing defensively. Chicago's had any space in the middle third. They've attempted to move it forward immediately. And boy, has that paid off. Shots are even, believe it or not, 5 apiece. 3 on frame for Chicago. All have gone through that frame. Make sure you stay with us coming up at halftime, just a few minutes away. It's too strong, it'll get all the way back. Feature on Red Bull New York's Julian Hall. His connections to Next Pro, of course. And then the focus becomes MLS All-Star Week coming up. Goalie Wars is back, featuring a pair of MLS Next Pro keepers. We'll tell you all about that. And, of course, highlight stats around the rest of the league. That's all coming up at halftime here from Truist Point in High Point, North Carolina. Tatavin gives it a rip and sends it into the 6th row of seats. Fortunately, caught an empty seat. And maybe a quick selfie before tossing the ball back down to a member of the event staff so it can be put back in play when needed. And I always wonder, how much time do you really have? 10 seconds? Look what I found. It's not like baseball, of course, which they do play here. If this was a Rockers game, put that in your pocket. Give it to a youngster nearby. Can't do that here, though. As we move into the 45th minute. Minimal stoppages that we've had throughout the start of this. There should not be a huge number coming shortly. Also, the whistle has been much quieter. You do get one here. Tatavin suffers one. One other game in the league currently in progress. Also a 3-0 score. Chattanooga over Philadelphia right now. They just started the second half. One final from earlier. Miami, who was blanked 4-0 on this field Wednesday, picks up a win. 2-1 over Toronto. Tough year for Miami. This one's loose in front dangerously. Wasn't much there, but nearly squirted. Fortunate for Chicago that there was not a box in the area. 2 minutes here of stoppage time in the opening half. And again, please do make sure that you stay with us coming up at the break. Second half, of course, after that. And would likely suspect some substantial changes for Carolina, at the very least tactically, perhaps with some substitutions. Chicago looking for a 4th. This is an onside ball. Already a trio of first half tallies. Strong goalkeeping necessary again. Holiday able to block the cross in that bright pink goalkeeper kit. Chicago's going to go again. Already again, Pineda, Nick, and Halut have scored. Right foot served in and headed high up over the crossbar. We've got whistles, and there are 2 Carolina players down. Seth Hammond, the second to pop back up. Couldn't tell if it was friendly fire or if both were in an aerial challenge through that corner. I think at this point, Carolina would Love to hear that whistle. Honestly, Chicago maybe as well. Take that 3-0 lead into the locker room. Lots still to be decided, of course. We have seen wild turns and transitions over the now 5-year history of MLS Next Pro. Perhaps time for one final chance, but the reversal might just about do it. And there it is, the halftime whistle. A dominant first 45 for visiting Chicago Fire FC2. 3 goals. Oscar Pineda first, Damianic second, and Vitaly Halut third in what otherwise statistically was an even first 45. Dominance, of course, on the big board. Coming up in our halftime show, we get you set for MLS All-Star Week, including the return of Goalie Wars, plus our first half highlights. That's all when we return.
They say the world's game is played everywhere. This is how we play it here. Every weekend across North America. From Vancouver's mountain rain to the shores of Florida. From the city of angels to the heartland. The world's brightest stars light up our fields.
Let's go.
And our fans bring the world to life. In every language, in every city. One game, one roar. Sold out nights under lights. New soccer citadels rising from coast to coast. Every chant, every goal, another brick in a growing relief. Now, the world's biggest stage comes to our home. And when they arrive, they'll find the game's heartbeat has been here all along.
We welcome you back. 3-0 Chicago over Carolina here at the break. Next Pro alum and New York Red Bull, Jeremy Hall, has been named to the MLS All-Star team this upcoming week in Charlotte. Let's look back at our visit with this rising star.
Playing soccer when I was around 4 years old, I would play a lot wherever I could. If it was a field near my apartment or wherever I could, basically. And I just remember, falling in love with the game and wanting to play as much as I can. There's a main place I would play. It's pretty popular in Manhattan. It's called Pier 40, and a lot of people go there. That's where I played with Manhattan Kickers. It's kind of where I really started to realize I really wanted to play soccer seriously and maybe make it professionally.
That love for the game turned into an opportunity, a move into one of the top academies in the country.
Julian came into our system at U14. I think he played about 3 or 4 games with the U14s. I was a U15 coach at the time, so I was observing those games, and you could see straight away he was a special talent. So he quickly got moved up an age group to play with the U15s that season. Made an instant impact with the older age groups.
The level changed quickly, and so did the expectations.
I was very excited to come in and show my ability, and You know, I was playing with my age and I was playing a year up, and the intensity was a different level, I would say, from what I've ever played at that point in my life. So yeah, no, it's an amazing experience.
Chimueno scored off the bench against Seattle, and Julian Hall with the breakthrough! The Golden Boot leader rises to the occasion, and we've got an electric finish here in the U15 final.
He's one of those players that can get you up off your feet. Like, he's direct, he can take players on, he can score goals from inside the box, outside the box in really different ways. And, you know, it would always amaze you how he would find goals in the game.
The next step brought a new set of challenges.
That was the biggest jump for me, going from academy to professional football. The intensity, the physicality, the football, it was all quicker than anything I had experienced before. And, you know, I just thought I did a good job of staying level-headed and not being discouraged about little things.
Working to the midfield, now Gonzalez entering the box, across and a goal! Julian Hall puts the Red Bulls 2 on the board.
I was lucky to be coached by Ibrahim Sakaya, and Bradley Wright Phillips was there a lot of the time as well. They did a good job of helping me progress and helping me not get discouraged and keep going every single day and working hard. The coaching staff really, you know, mended me very well.
Like, he's always striving to try and get better at something within games and training. And then, you know, why he adapts well, he's a natural goal scorer.
For Julian, it was about staying level and keeping the work the same.
When you go to a professional environment, if you're doing the most amount of work and you're clearly working harder than everyone else, it stands out to a lot of people, and that can be something that separates you from everyone else. If you're a hard worker, that could get you to a lot of places, and I think that's just something that established me when I first came into the first team.
That work and mentality has paid off with the fast start of the season.
We're really happy with the way that he's moving himself forward. He has taken the ideas and has really shown that he is picking things up. Obviously, there's the attacking part, his ability to find chances, his ability to take balls on the move, to dribble, to go by guys, run in the box. The part that goes with it is how much work he does for us against the wall, how much pressing, how much sprinting, how much chasing, how much work he does to really make the game difficult on the other team. And so we're really, really happy with the progress that he's made. We're going to continue to push him.
As he continues to grow, so does the chemistry with his teammates around him.
I've known Julian for a very long time now. I see the way he works in training. I'm getting to know him more and more, obviously, as we play together on and off the field. And then when I step onto the field, I know where he's going to be on the field, what his positioning is like, where he wants the ball, left foot, right foot. And we're kind of growing that connection, which has been going in a really good way, and hopefully, you know, to grow that connection even more.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! 2-0!
I think it's just the trust with the coaching staff. Coach Michael, he's done a great job with us during preseason and putting trust in me to start the first couple games. It's a lot of credit to him for putting his belief in me. Obviously, I have to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, and thankfully, I've got a couple goals so far, and the goal is to keep progressing throughout the season.
Talent and work ethic have helped Julian's dreams come true faster than even he could have predicted.
I've always dreamt of becoming a professional soccer player, but I never really expected it to happen so fast, to be honest. You know, earlier that year, I was still just playing academy, and I was progressing well, but I never thought it would lead to signing a contract later that year. So it's kind of a lesson there just to be ready for anything, and anything can happen very, very quickly. You really just have to put your all into whatever you're doing, and things can happen. I think a big thing is just self-belief, because when I was playing in MLS Next, I was signing a contract later that season. I had no idea. I did not have a plan on signing that year. That was not in my plan at all. I think things like that can come from just you doing as much as you can, and things will just happen by itself, you know? As long as you're working hard and giving 100% every single day, you know, good things will happen. And, you know, thankfully things came to me that year, and, you know, you gotta be grateful and you gotta use it as much as you can to your abilities.
Cruz. And an amazing save by Pedro Cruz. And Pedro Cruz with a third save.
A lot of pressure on the ball. Ending hit, what a save!
Saved by Cruz. Pierce cross in front. Reflex save by Cruz.
Decent ball in, great save again. My goodness, worldly stop from Pedro Cruz.
Parker John for the equalizer, stop. And saved by Mackey. McGrath, stopped by Will Mackey.
Now sends one in. Oh, Mackey! How did he do it?
Sliding it across. Will Mackey standing on his head.
And he stopped.
It's another great save from Mackey.
Will Mackey says no.
Huntsville's Will Mackey and Houston's Pedro Cruz will be there. Will you? Goalie Wars, presented by Old Spice, returns as part of the All-Star Skills Challenge, presented by AT&T on July 28th. And we must mention that multiple MLS Next Pro alums will be on hand to take the field in the 2026 MLS All-Star Game, as presented by Chime on July 29th from Charlotte. Well, our contest here in front of us, we've got a 3-0 situation, but here is what is coming up tomorrow. A full slate, lots of action to speak of. We have a really good one in the West between Houston and Austin. That's a 1-2 in the table matchup at 7 Eastern time. And, of course, you can start with 11 a.m. action and take you all the way till the end of the night, 10 p.m. Eastern time with Tacoma and Colorado. Okay, let's go to the highlights from our match here in the first 45 minutes. A lot to look at, to be frank, but it's all on the visiting side, the Midwest and Chicago. Scoring galore and skill galore on display. This was the second chance that Pineda had on the night. That was a really great scoring opportunity. Cashes in Dean Bolts helping out in the 18th minute. That made it 1-0. Some chances on this end for Carolina. This is the best one. It came seconds after the goal from Pineda. Big time save made by Nemo. Set piece opportunity later in the half off the wall. And then a wicked deflection after the shot came from Neek. It goes into the back of the net. It's 2-0. That's in the 29th minute. And then more here in the 34th minute. Breaking it down, Turdine and the volley from Halut. Just masterful for Chicago over the course of that first half. They kept the clean sheet on the other side as well. So they will take a 3-0 lead into the second half, and we will have that second half for you after a brief timeout here from High Point, North Carolina.
2021 season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
We are just about set for the beginning of the second half of action. It has been all Chicago to this point. 3-0 the lead, with goals in the first half coming from Pineda, Neek, and Halut. We just showed them to you if you weren't with us. Some of the numbers from the first half briefly. Each side with 7 shots. 4-2 on frame for Chicago. And each team had 2 corners. Those the other numbers in addition to the 3 tallies. Chicago in the white-based uniforms, and Carolina in the dark kits as we resume play with the second half of action. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Casey, the rest of our fantastic team here with you at Truist Point. What does Carolina Core have in the change department, perhaps, and finding a way to get back into this? Coming off an explosion, 4 goals against Miami in what was just Wednesday night. 4-0 win, 3 points fresh off of those, looking for another. Carolina is unbeaten in its last 2. Chicago had its 5-match unbeaten streak broken the last time out, which was last weekend. Also in the state of North Carolina, they were down in Matthews, greater Charlotte area, against Crown Legacy. So again, Chicago in the whites, dark unis for Carolina. Looks like we have had some halftime changes on the Chicago side. James Field comes into the game, and Jack Sandmeyer checks out. So that's one change. A whistle and an early opportunity for Carolina. And Carolina making a number of changes here. We'll bring them all to you after we get this set piece opportunity. Edge of the attacking third, long distance. Nolan Evers is in. Nelson Martinez is on. So too is Diaz as the set piece gets to the top of the box and immediately it exits. If Carolina can find some confidence with an early goal here, this is not going to end quietly, I would suspect. Nice run for Diaz, still recycled towards goal. It's loose, and it is! Is it in? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Somehow it stayed out. Wow. How in the world did that not go for Carolina? There was a time there where 4 or 5 Carolina players started the celebration, but the ball was pinned on the far post, and Nemo is able to keep it away. Wow. Well, that would have been the strike right away to make this one 3-1 before you could blink. But not the case. Just into the second half. Wow. Takes a second to recover from all of that, to be frank. We told you it was rather quiet, to say the least in some form in the first half, but that was nearly a 3-1 advantage. Taken back by Carolina here. Already the best chance of the second half. Best chance on the night. Montenegro's taken down. That's going to elicit a whistle. Has to. Clear foul right near the baseball foul pole. Turn into a bit of a short corner as Montenegro wins it. It should tell you about all those changes again. Evers coming on. So too David Diaz and Nelson Martinez. Teta exiting. Rainbolt exiting. And Swinehart exiting. Free kick in. And Kenner sent just wide. But they will say a Chicago touch for another corner. Chicago protesting vehemently. 3, 4, 5 players saying that it is not or should not be. So all the way through. This is a look at the last sequence. And somehow you see it just rings off the post and then the ball just sits. Just stays right there. After the second knock-in came. And it would not go. Tough luck for Carolina to start the half. Would have been in the opening 2 minutes. We're now just into the 51st minute. But still, Carolina with some different energy. This one sent it on the cross. Immediately exits. Not much in the Chicago rush department just yet. But plenty of on rush in the first half. So once again, the changes at the break here. There were 4 of them, 1 on the Chicago side. Sandmeyer exited, and on came James Field. And the 3 changes for Carolina, featuring Nolan Evers, Nelson Martinez, and David Diaz entering. And exiting after the first half, Thomas Rainbolt, Bryce Swinehart, and the Rashid Teta. Chicago on the rush for the first time in half number 2. Already a 3-goal margin. Game all this way. They know they're going back tomorrow. They continue to grow and develop. Coming up to take this long throw will be Neek, who has a goal. The second for Chicago. Also had the early yellow card way back in the 4th minute. A lot has happened since then, to say the least. Carolina now with just 2 changes left to be made. Neek's cross after tossing in. Good combination play, but nobody on the other end of it in a dangerous area. But the recycled ball gets into a dangerous area. It's punched away. Has to be sent out over the end line. And it will be a corner kick coming. Nick Holiday didn't really have many options there. Decided to just exit it out of danger, but still a corner. 3rd of the night for Chicago, 1st of the second half. To continue this dominant evening. James Field is stalking near the penalty spot. He's the lone newcomer for the visitors here in the second half so far. It in swings. Lots of movement on that one. Follow-up try. Redirects wildly wide. And Chicago protesting that it should be a corner this time. They feel they've been robbed on the 2 recent corner potential determinations. The other side, they thought it should not have been a corner. Look at this. First of all, in-swinging ball that really had movement, and then this wild deflection. What could have been another volley send. Slight advantage granted on the ensuing restart and rush for Carolina, but now lost. And here comes a head of steam from right to left, led by Halut. The volley strike on goal number 3, assist on goal number 2. And it has opened up here relative to the first half. The second half is just wide open to this point. Carolina has to open it up if they want to find a way back into it. Push from behind. That will elicit a whistle. Oh, and a yellow card. Wow. Didn't think we would see one for that. But there was some open real estate in front. As a proud sponsor of Carolina Core, Duderman Law Group knows the value of teamwork. And with the Duderman team behind you, you'll have the power to win. The injury compensation you deserve. Duderman Law Group, a passion for justice, the experience to win. Yellow's on Ryan Baer. First yellow card shown to a member of Carolina, Chicago. The ensuing restart. It's gotten back into play here at second base. You can see the indentations when baseball is played here at this turf facility. Further on, and it's 4-0. Does the flag stay down? Yes, indeed, it does. It is all working for Chicago. This time, it's Tripp Fleming, the captain. 4-0 Chicago in High Point. The initial ball came from Tripp, threaded through, deflected on past the couple. Dean Bolts will probably get another assist. And then Fleming lights the lamp for the second time this season. It's all coming up Chicago. And now this one has officially flipped from Wednesday. 4-0 win for Carolina on this field over Miami Wednesday night. Saturday night belongs to Chicago. Up 4-0. 4 different goal scorers. And you have to think back to the opening moments of the second half when Carolina, and it's cliche, perhaps hyperbole to say, how did that not go? This one was not your normal, how did that not go? The ball going across goal mouth. It edged, it hit the post, redirecting in, and the keeper got there. Then the ball was free. Defender went down, and the ball just essentially stuck to the defender with other Core attackers ready to fire it in. That was just picked up innocently by the goalkeeper eventually. Chicago looking for more. Volleyed high. Halut already one goal of similar fashion. Nearly did it again here in the second. Win here for Chicago. Still, of course, a little more than a half hour remaining, but 4-0 up. That's going to be, as we all know, a tough hill to climb. A win like this really could work wonders for this Chicago team. Not just a win on the road, but a dominant effort. I'm sure you'd love to keep the clean sheet as well. But a threat every time they're in this area. So eyes peeled again. And a few chances for Carolina, the one we were just running through. Shots at this point, 10-9. Technically an assist. They're going to say there was a deft touch from Villanueva after it came from what appeared to be Bolts. So Villanueva picks up the assist. Looks like we will get another change for Carolina coming at the next whistle. Corey Lundeen getting loose. Looking to insert some energy. on this Carolina side. And certainly cannot forget the performance on Wednesday. It felt as if the club had reached kind of the fever pitch of the build of all the changes that were made right around Memorial Day in late May. But this first hour of this one, tough one. Looking up at the board, all credit to Chicago, who's been exceptional this evening. Carolina will go again on Friday. Travel down to Atlanta for a 7 o'clock start. Chicago will get to spend some time at home tonight, concluding 5 of 6 on the road, and makes the unbeaten streak of 5 straight coming into last week so impressive. Chicago will play 3 in a row at home starting Sunday against FC Cincinnati 2. And 6 of the final 9 will be at home as well. Here's that change. It is Lundin coming on here in the 61st. And Ricardo Montenegro is going to exit. That's now 4 changes made by Carolina, 3 at the break. Down 3-0 at the time, so just 1 left remaining. Windows not a factor. Chicago has made just the 1 change, James Fields, who came on at the half, so a total of 4 available changes remain, and all 3 windows since the halftime change was made. Neek on the switch. Sun just about completely set here as we tick towards 9 o'clock locally. Towards the end of July, days starting to get a little bit shorter after the summer solstice, but still, of course, plenty of sunshine. Hope you and yours are enjoying your summer, enjoying your Saturday evening, wherever you may be. Thanks for popping us on here, MLS Next Pro. Drew Casey with you, the rest of our great team. Part of a busy, busy week across the league, both East and West. Full slate of competition coming up tomorrow. Neek's combination play off the near touchline. Draws the whistle, and this should be a foul, and it is. Free kick coming for Chicago. Nice work by Turdine. High Point University is the premier life skills university, attracting students from all 50 states and 50 countries. Discover why families are flocking to HPU at highpoint.edu. Chicago going short here. Just keep it moving in the 63rd minute, up 4-0. Now going over the top. The chase is on for Turdine, who did all the hard work to draw the last free kick. Turdine's cross towards the spot and cleared away centrally. Now going long ball the other way. Finds Tatavin. Now Kalukian. A lot of traffic. Does get it on goal. And just waiting with it for a moment before putting it back into play is Jason Nemo Jr., the goalkeeper. He does have 2 clean sheets to his name this year. Would love a third. And of course, plenty of action coming up tomorrow, but the live table will put Chicago, if this result holds, into a tie for 7th position on 30 points, matched with Atlanta, and inside the playoff line by 2 points, but some games at hand to the chasing group, which includes both NYCFC and Connecticut United. but every point matters. And Carolina currently in 14th, and they will, if this result holds, stand 9 points out of a playoff position with 7 matches remaining after tonight. And after tonight's conclusion, they will also have played the most matches of anyone in the Eastern Conference, so that effective chasing of 9 points likely to, in reality, be a little bit more. Certainly always a lot to grow from, develop. That is part of the mentality. 3rd season for Carolina in MLS Next Pro, joined for the start of the 24 season as an independent club. Made the postseason last year, finished in 8th, last spot. 1 point inside the playoff line. Faced off with the 1 seed New York Red Bulls 2 on the road. Did lose that one 5-1. 39-point season last year. On 21 here tonight. A lot of space here. Flag stays down for a moment, but then comes up as the challenge and comes, and the touch from the goalkeeper. Nemo got out there. And it's just a shoe tie there for the lone Chicago second half substitute, James Field. Just his 3rd appearance for Chicago Fire FC2 on this 26 Next Pro season. 49 total minutes, does have an assist. If he plays all 45 here, he'll essentially double his season minutes total. Chicago with another run off the right side here. Through. Good ball. Second runner. That's why you always make that second run. Kept alive. That's nice work on both sides. And Carolina trying to go the other way. End-to-end action. No advantage granted there. Play just ruled clean. Players leaving their feet in the midfield, trying to catch that one, knock it out of the air. Couple of changes for Chicago that have just come down. It's right along the end line. Trying to keep. And just chipped out. So both Borso and Bolts come off. And coming on, Milan Napoa and Tidian Diawara. So those changes coming, officially they came in the 65th minute. Carolina making a change as well here just moments ago. Antonio Pineda comes on, and leaving is Seth Hammond. So that's 5 changes for Carolina. Cleared away off the near touchline. So the 5 subs for Carolina since the break: Evers, Lundin, Pineda, Martinez, and Diaz. And Chicago's changes in the second: Diawara, as well as Napoa just came on, and James Field the third. So 2 changes still at the disposal on the Chicago sideline. They did travel a full bench of 9, so 2 20-man rosters for this one. Long range, thinking about the Fire. Instead, it's the drop pass. Tatavin, was he offside? Yes. Quick restart. Chicago just keeps it on moving. Saw some advantage with numbers this way, and the chase is on. I'll say Carolina throw here. So Nelson Martinez, faithful in the crowd here as he grabbed a touch. 5'9" defender previously. Virginia, look out! Set just wide. Carolina nearly on the board. Dadovan, good connection on it. Out to challenge Nemo Jr. And sent just wide. Not far off from the opening goal for Carolina Core. A tough night for the Foxes. That change we saw a little while ago. Hammond off, Antonio Pineda on. So Pineda on both sides. Oscar for Chicago. He does remain in there. The first name game we'll move to. As we get into the 80th minute or so, if it remains 4-0, that's where you start to have to be careful. Third time these teams meeting. Long night, different emotions. Nothing indicates, though, that there should be anything to that nature. Here's David Diaz, fresh legs. Pass intended for Martinez, but knocked away. Diawara was trying to win it back in the midfield for Chicago. Instead, for Carolina, here's Diaz looking to grab the byline. Crosses through, top of the 6, immediately sent out. Somebody just won a sound like free burger. Late night here in High Point. Might have to enter that next time. Whistle here. You know, if the Chicago side wants anything, I think the staff should find a way there if they hold on 4-0 on the road. Just the road would just be road win number 2 of the season. Three first half goals, one here in the second. And it's quieted a bit. Last 8 or so, 10 minutes or so. Fleming thought he might have been fouled there after releasing that pass back to his keeper, Nemo. Good ball over the top here. Will it stay on and in? Yes and yes. Chicago through again. Cross and sent in, but will it count? I don't believe so, no. It will not. Out over that end line. Excellent work by the assistant referee. Not out by much, but out. Dadovan's turn, immediately sent out. Near sideline, Halut. Just send it past everyone, little miscommunication. Back line for Chicago, that's been tested in a few moments. The keeper, Nemo, Had a couple of exceptional saves. And that unusual sequence to start the second half. Somehow Carolina couldn't get it to go. A combination of skill and a level of being fortunate, lucky, I would say as well. Plenty more direct balls over the top here with scoring time at this point. CIBC is the official wealth management partner of Carolina Core FC. CIBC. Final in Chattanooga, 4-0 over Philly. And again, earlier today, Miami 2-1 over Toronto. One of the game just underway in Texas, Mansfield Stadium, North Texas, and LAFC. They are 0-0 in the 17th minute. Of course, you can catch that action when we're done here. And also later tonight, 10 Eastern time. Ventura County and Earthquakes 2 get things going. And then again, full day tomorrow that starts at 11 a.m. with Atlanta and New York City. Take a little bit of a break. Then you've got matches 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10 Eastern times across the league. A couple of those windows with multiple starts. Back and forth as to possession and positioning of restart. That one stopped because a second soccer ball had worked its way onto the field. Look out. Sent off the side netting. Diawara with a chance. Recycled. Not going to be a whistle here. Play just continues. 2 additional changes as Harrison Bernhardt enters for Chicago. This one should draw a whistle. And Chicago not going to be pleased. Not just a whistle, but a yellow card. And it's shown to Oscar Pineda here in the 78th minute. A nice opportunity here for Carolina to get on the board. Ball is gone, and there's the second turn. Perhaps that what draws the ire as Antonio Pineda draws the whistle, and the card shown to Oscar Pineda on the Chicago side. No relation. Tristan Weber. And a yellow card has come out now to Omar Gonzalez. No go short, dropping for Bear. Bear now redirects wide. Dadevin a touch, and Carolina not able to get much going off of that sequence, but they will grab a throw. Weber restarts in the 80th minute. Chicago's done a nice job of keeping Tatovan in check for the most part. Did have a chance very recently. He ended up himself in the goal. Ball went wide. We say that, and he fires and scores. All right, on cue. The leading scorer for a reason of the club. Buries his 9th. It breaks up the clean sheet. Working hard. Finds himself with it here on the flick. Clearly an onside play. And a nice finish cross cage, beating the goalkeeper, Nemo. Officially in the 80th minute, the goal crossing the line. Let's see what Carolina has here. Still plenty of time to grab a second. Then you never know. Probably not enough time. Aggressive challenge here and a yellow card. Clear yellow. They're going to book Orbaugh here in the 82nd. Those changes, by the way, for Chicago prior to the first goal. We had Halut exiting, as well as Turdine, and Montiel and Harrison Bernhardt were the two that entered for Chicago. So both teams have now used 5 changes, and Chicago with an opportunity. A set piece inside the attacking third by a bit. Already 4 across the line. Looking for number 5, and too much on it. And it will be a goal kick coming here for Carolina. So breaking the clean sheet. Nice crowd in attendance here, just announced. Just shy of 4,000 supporting MLS Next Pro here this evening. At Truist Point and High Point. North Carolina, that is, of course. Over the top. Loose here. And nicely ridden off. And held off. Chicago across the back line. Denying Corey Lundeen. Trying to create something. Lundeen, a couple of assists on the season. 2 of them. In fact, both of them came in the last meeting between these teams back on May 16th, assisting Tim Zagers equalizer in the 49th minute. And then what held up as the winner on a Mohamed Diakite 54th minute header. Neither of those players on the roster. Zegers not on the roster as a whole any longer. Diakite not on the matchday roster this evening. And we also remind you, Jair Kaiser picked up the red card in that game for Carolina way back on May 16th. The red card suspension in Next Pro occurs if you have another game against the opponent in that one, not just the next week. So no Kaiser tonight. So we tick into the 85th minute.
Don't forget to stick around after the match for player autographs and photos right on the pitch. Presented by the Bud Brew.
Again, Carolina will go to Atlanta for its next contest Friday, July 31st, and back home in the month of August. They'll take on Huntsville Saturday, the 8th of August, 7:30, and then an idle week, an off week, and then again Saturday at home, August 22nd against Cincinnati. Another 7:30 start, preferred time here. And for Chicago, home for Cincinnati next Sunday at 4. And they'll have 8 days between matches. They'll play a rare Monday afternoon game against Toronto. It's August 10th at 3. And then Sunday, August 16th, home for Orlando at 4 Eastern time. So 3 straight at home coming for Chicago. They will not have to get on an airplane. Done the North Carolina trip the last 2 weeks. Although they did go to Greensboro on their flight in here. Awesome airport, by the way. If you're looking to get to the Piedmont Triad or somewhere outside of a major city like Charlotte. My experience, I think it's actually my favorite airport for ease of access and such. Could pull right up to the gate, although it's been a few years. To the gate, to the entry door, I should say. They do have some parking spots right at the door. So winding this down, 87th minute, Chicago here content to take its time, although they'll certainly look to find another, you would suspect, given where this one was initially restarted, and that's a ticky-tack offside flag that comes up there. Play quickly resumes. And the pressure applied by Chicago. Clinical finishing for Chicago Fire tonight, especially in the first half. Dazzlers of goals, especially Pineda and Halut. Take nothing away, though, from Neek and Fleming, the other scorers. All finding ways to cross the line. 3-0 at the break. Each team has scored once here in the second half. Deflected ball, nicely controlled by Chicago's goalkeeper. Just 16 years old for Jason Nemo. Continuing to grow that consistency piece that if there's a word across all 30 MLS Next Pro clubs that they're looking for as players develop, I think consistency might be the buzzword. That's bingo across the league. Little standoff here. Go with the feet centrally in the build. Pass intercepted, knocked away by Antonio Pineda, native of Statesville, North Carolina. On the current roster, actually just one of 4 players from North Carolina for the core. Holiday from Chapel Hill. Pineda from Statesville, and this is considering the active 20 tonight. Over the top runner here for Nelson Martinez. He's from Virginia. The other 2 North Carolinians, Swinehart's from Charlotte. And Ryan Baer is from Huntersville, suburb of Charlotte. It's become really popular in the state, especially in the last 5-10 years. This one's loose in the box. Chicago should be able to clear this now. Sure you hang with us immediately following the final whistle. We'll tell you about our man of the match, what's coming up, And a quick wrap of what is very likely going to be a Chicago 3-point performance on the road to move to 30 points in the Eastern Conference table and move inside the playoff line. See if they're still there at the conclusion of match week 21 after all of tomorrow's competition across MLS Next Pro. Yellow card has come out here in the dying seconds before stoppage time for a takedown, and it did appear to be a caution-worthy foul there. So the book has gotten very full for referee Daniel Emery. Nelson Martinez shown the yellow card. Three minutes of stoppage time here. Couple goals, plenty of substitutions. And Chicago next in action a week from tomorrow, Sunday, August 2nd. Cincinnati, 4 Eastern Time, 3 Central. It's a home one at SeatGeek. Overlapping runners for Chicago. There's another one. Just powered in, and it is now 5-1 Chicago. That was quite a strike from Diawara. The overlap comes. Two choices, Bernhardt or Diawara. The 21-year-old Diawara said, I'll take it. And it is now 5-1 Chicago. Just an onslaught for Chicago this evening. Five up there. Diawara, third of the season. That's been a constant number as well. It's just all clicked, simply put, for Chicago this evening. Kept there by Nemo, and that should pretty much do it. Looking through some of the assist numbers here. There are four different players on the Chicago side who have had multiple contributions in terms of goals plus assists today. Just about all finished up here. Chicago will move to 30 points. In mere moments, whistle here. Limited time remains. Shots are going to end up tight, 13-11 here at the moment. And there is the final whistle as Chicago puts up 5 goals on the road and wins in commanding fashion. 5-1, the final score. A season-high outburst. 5 on the offensive side for the visitors. 3-0 at the break. 4-0 early in the second, 4-1, and then Chicago an exclamation point just before this one wrapped up moments ago. 5-1, the final score. Let's now turn to our man of the match presented by Adidas. A lot of choices here from the Chicago side. Could go a number of ways, but we're going to go with one of the early goals scored. This one off the wall. Damian Meek on the spot. One of those 3 offensive wall mates turns, finishes, and scores. Picks up assists on additional goals later. It's bounced back and forth between 1 and 2. It looks like officially right now it's 1, but he did have a second one. Potentially that'll get squared away later. But he was huge for the Chicago team as he continues to build and develop. And once again, Chicago to 30 points with the win, 7-6-6. They quickly erased the loss last week to Crown Legacy, and now they are unbeaten in 6 of the last 7, surging in the Eastern Conference inside the playoff line. Meanwhile, Carolina, after winning by 4 earlier this week over Miami, they lose by 4 here, 5-1, the final score in favor of Chicago. That's going to do it for our broadcast here tonight. For our entire team, I'm Drew Casey. One final time, Chicago 5, Carolina 1 is our final score. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.